Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back in with another sequence of the end times. Micah chapter 7 also goes through the sequence. This one actually talks about the tribulation, the lead up to salvation, then salvation, and then, a time of wrath, and then the kingdom. And so this is an amazing thing. And so this is another instance from the book of Micah, verse 7. And the title is Wait for the God of Salvation. Woe is me, for I have become as when the summer fruit has been gathered, as when the grapes have been gleaned. There is no cluster to eat, no first ripe fig that my soul desires. The godly has perished from the earth, and there is no one upright among mankind. This is the times that we live in now. They all lie in wait for blood, and each other hunts the other with a net. Their hands are on what is evil to do it well. And so this is a time where only evil can be uplifted, and pushed, and that kind of thing. And again, we see that right now. The prince and the judge ask for a bribe. Again, this is the time. And the great man utters the evil desire of his soul. Thus they weave it together. The best of them is like a briar, the most upright of them a thorn hedge. The day of your watchman, of your punishment has come. Now their confusion is at hand. Put no trust in a neighbor. Have no confidence in a friend. Guard the doors of your mouth from her who lies in your arms. For the son treats the father with contempt, and the daughter rises up against her mother, the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. This is again what Jesus says, where he's bringing the division in the last days. A man's enemy are the men of his own house. That's very, very important to know. And that's in verse 6. Not a big surprise that's the case. And then verse 7, Micah 7:7. 7 is a righteous number. But as for me, I will look to the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. And so that's, again, not a coincidence that that's in verse 7. And then 6 is talking about division, and so just know that. Bible structured perfectly. So there we have our reference to calamity, division that we see now, and then salvation. So check. Then verse 8. Now we expect to see things relating to wrath. Rejoice not over me, O my enemy. When I fall, I shall rise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord will be a light to me. I will bear the indignation of the Lord because I have sinned against him until he pleads my cause and executes judgment for me. He will bring me out of the light. I shall look upon his vindication. Then my enemy will see, and shame will cover her who has said to me, where is the Lord your God? And so we see that. Even in the times that we live in now, people are like, where's God? And so just know that. My eyes will look upon her. Now she will be trampled down like the mire of the streets. And so now we're going to start to see destruction. Verse 11, a day for the building of walls. In that day, the boundary shall be far extended. In that day, they will come to you from Assyria and the cities of Egypt, which is modern day America, and from Egypt to the river, from sea to sea, and from mountain to mountain. But the earth will be desolate because of its inhabitants for the fruit of their deeds. And so God is bringing judgment on the entire earth. And it says here, the earth will be desolate. And so the abomination that causes desolation is coded language for a depopulation agenda from God. Just know that God is the one who's behind the Georgia Guidestones and all that kind of stuff. Verse 14, shepherd your people with your staff, the flock of your inheritance. So now we have, destruction. And so just be aware of that. This is following the sequence. Shepherd your people with your staff, the flock of your inheritance, who dwell alone in a forest in the midst of a garden. Let them graze in Bashan and Gilead as in the old days. As in the days when you came out of the land of Egypt, I will show them marvelous things. The nation shall see and be ashamed of all their might. They shall lay their hands on their mouths. Their ears shall be deaf. They shall lick the dust like a serpent. They shall, like the crawling things of the earth, they shall come trembling out of their strongholds and shall turn in dread to the Lord our God, and they shall be in fear of you. And so this is, again, Christ talking about him returning with his elect, where everybody will fear them, and so just know that. And so this is the time of God executing judgment. They shall come trembling out of their strongholds. And so this is a time where, again, this is still referencing to the earth because it's talking about people coming out of their strongholds. So these are people that God is judging that are in a strong position, a fortified position. At least they think that. And so this is not Christ's rulership on earth yet, because nobody else would have a quote unquote stronghold that God would want to destroy. And so just know that he's talking about judgment. Verse 17, they shall lick the dust like a serpent, like the crawling things of the earth. And so just to go back even one more, the nation shall be ashamed of all their might. They shall lay their hands on their mouths. Their ears shall be deaf. And so that's referring to judgment that's happening here. And it says in verse 17, they shall be in fear of you. And so this is God's elect returning. And so it's all consistent. Verse 18, who is a God like you? Now we should see the kingdom of heaven, references, and we do. Who is a God like you, pardoning iniquity and passing over transgression for the remnant of his inheritance? He does not retain his anger forever because he delights in steadfast love. He will again have compassion on us. He will tread our iniquities underfoot. So God's elect, their sins will be forgiven. You will cast all of our sins into the depths of the sea. Verse 20, you will show faithfulness to Jacob and steadfast love to Abraham, as you have sworn to our fathers from the days of old. And so this is God establishing his the kingdom, and then forgiving the sins of his people. And so Micah 7 again shows the sequence of the end times in I would say very good detail. And it's an amazing thing. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.